It's loading, and here we are. Good morning, listeners. I am so excited today. Here we are at the Moxie Hotel for the WOFB podcast. I am your host, Cameron Matheny, founder of Cameo Studio Designs, also principal of the CEU Designer Dopamine. Today, I'm so excited, and I cannot wait to really dive into this interview with Lisa, but I have Lisa here. But first, before we learn all about Lisa and the amazing woman that she is, the WOFB is a community of women that we are in flooring, we are lighting designers, architecture, and architect entrepreneurs, women in lighting, and so much more, who we all share the same passionate value, and that's all about professional growth. Through this podcast, we aim to amplify the voices of women in our fields, women like Lisa, which you guys are going to love all about Lisa, but we want to empower each other and truly flourish in business and, really in life. This podcast is proudly presented by Latticrete, #1 global material company in the world, Cameo Studio Designs, and the WOFB. If you guys are a DIYer enthusiast, if you're a contractor or a tile expert, we welcome you from Latticrete to this episode. As many times, many of you dive into deep of these projects that are on home improvement, construction, and today I want to shine a light, not only with Lisa, but spotlight on a brand that is synonymous with quality and innovation, and that is Latticrete. So if you are planning your next tile project or tackling a big renovation, ensure successful installation each and every time with Latticrete. Lisa, I should have had you reading half these ads. You're a podcaster too.
You're doing great.
So listen, look no further for Latticrete as your material company for all of your adhesive, grouts, and waterproofing needs. As I mentioned, today I am meeting with Lisa Alban, who is a renowned feng shui master designer, quantum energy alignment practitioner. She specializes in harmonizing environments to cultivate positive energy. I'm already getting goosebumps. And well-being. With over a decade of experience, Lisa has developed a unique approach to interior design, blending traditional feng shui principles and modern aesthetics to enhance the flow of energy qi in both residential and commercial spaces. She is the founder of Cloud9 Feng Shui and co-founder of the Intrinsic School of Feng Shui. Lisa helps individuals, businesses create environments that support growth, balance, and success. Her expertise is grounding from properties of materials such as flooring. Oh, we love this. And transformative power of lighting. Love, which she considers one of the strongest manifestations of chi. Lisa, welcome.
Well, thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
You are so welcome. So today, I may go back and edit this out, but today we're meeting in downtown St. Pete at the Moxie Hotel, guys. You know how cute this place is from seeing all of the adorable aesthetics from the tile, from all of the lighting, the wallpaper, the books. It's just such a fabulous place. But today we're here on during the hurricane. So it's a little chaotic outside these doors, but I'm with a feng shui master, so we're going to be good.
I love the symbolism that we're expecting a storm right now.
Right.
But you wouldn't know it inside the building. You wouldn't. It feels like the brightest and shiniest day ever, just from all the details and textures. And I think it's very pertinent to leave in. Just symbolically, storms approaching as business owners, as entrepreneurs and visionaries, we are all inundated by storms.
Oh my gosh, I love this. This is why I love her so much already. So, Lisa, how did you get into feng shui design as an aesthetic? Like, when did you know you had a knack for feng shui?
Yeah, gosh. Well, all of us in feng shui, I'll start by saying I'm the board chair for the International Feng Shui Guild. So I'm connected with feng shui professionals all across the world. And I'll say the one thing that unites all of us is we all had a keen awareness at a very young age. And I think that everybody has this awareness, and we forget as we grow up in the world that we have this understanding that our environment is either supporting us or it's depleting us. It's activating us or it's stifling us.
I love that.
So, as a very young child, and I grew up in Maryland, in a very lovely home, no, major threats or anything. I was very lucky and blessed. But I love to play with the space, just as many designers in the field do. We just love to manipulate, and we realize when we change the space, we change our view.
Right.
The opportunities expand. So I didn't know until I was in college. And I went to college at a time where we had to go to the library, not to the internet, to research.
Sure.
I found books on feng shui and realized there was a name for what I was doing.
So you had that epiphany in college, like, wow.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Very unguided in my studying at that time. I didn't have a mentor at the time. I was just collecting books, reading books. As I grew up in my career in the professional world, I worked in television. Lifestyle television, as a matter of fact. So I was always keeping feng shui in the back of my mind. And I would say, I was known in the company for Lisa's going to come downstairs to look at the studio and she's going to say it's not very feng shui. I was just intuitively feng shuiing everything. The meeting rooms, the studios, the sets, aware of the lighting and the positioning.
Yeah.
And it's just more comfortable. It helps people feel more safe and aware and more supported, especially when you're doing something forward-facing, such as speaking or going on television.
Sure.
It's really, heart-bearing. So you need to have that right environment.
Absolutely. Well, I have a feeling you're going to school me today because, as I mentioned earlier in our conversation yesterday, is the only thing that I know about feng shui or remember is wherever your mirrors are hung, make sure they're facing the door to reverse all of the negative energy.
Oh my gosh. But I do want to school you a little bit. I do
Do
want to
it.
put some context around that. So
Please.
while I was sharing with you that I love meeting you and we have so much in common, and lighting is one of the strongest manifestations of chi.
Yeah.
It can be directed, it can be manipulated, it can be felt.
Yes.
It can be emitted. But mirrors equally are very, very powerful and have to be used very intentionally in a space. So as you were saying, to place a mirror directly in front of the door to bounce the negative energy out, it bounces all energy
Oh
out.
no. That's a problem.
Depending on the distance from the door. So let's say if it's greater than 3 feet, I could give a little leeway there because there's ways to welcome the energy in and then to direct it into the space, into the environment. But just as it's scaring negative energy, when you walk in directly to a mirror, it could be causing you to step back. So if you're in a position where you're selling something, selling a home, you definitely want to diffuse that mirror or move it and replace it with artwork. So you're not causing people to step back.
Oh, I love that because we want them to buy their house.
We want to invite them in.
Yeah, we want to invite them in. And we know that one of the number one things with real estate and selling a home, and in whenever I was in the showrooms for lighting, we used to always tell people, don't let your budget be so small in lighting because lighting can make or break your sale. So psychologically,
yes, absolutely.
So let's dive into that a little bit. So lighting as a manifestation of chi. In your work, you describe lighting as one of the strongest manifestations of chi. Yeah. For the women in our industry leading innovative design, how can they strategically use lighting to align spaces with their goals for growth?
Ooh, I love that. I love that.
Dive.
So I'll start with this. Lighting being the strongest manifestation of chi. So I'll break it down. Chi is life force energy for those of you that are new to the experience. And I'm not going to get too woo here, although I tend to enjoy getting a little woo.
Get woo, girl. Do your thing.
But there's very practical and scientific reasons why light is very attracting. It's stimulating. It speaks to our subconscious programming. So as professionals out there, and what you can do for yourself is use light very intentionally. So make yourself a sacred practice in your work. That means light a candle with intention to who you're showing up for in the day. If it's for yourself and you're getting work done in the office, if it's to cultivate a good meeting environment for your team, but light a candle so that you're really tuning in with why you're showing up. One of the things that we have challenges with in our industry is we forget the joy and why we started to begin with.
Right.
We're all in this for a reason and why we're called to it, but we lose sight of it with all the minutia and the anxiety and the to-do list. So infuse a sacred practice of turning on. It could even, if you don't like to turn on or light a candle, you could light a crystal pendant above your head.
I love this.
So,
okay. Which, not to go too far off base, because I tend to go down these rabbit holes. Because also, another way, if you're looking for lighting, you should do the CEU with Cameo Studio Design, all about design for dopamine and how to enhance dopamine. But Lisa, you brought me this crystal today. So tell me about how this can be related to balancing the light. Maybe if I
everybody who sees this crystal, we call it a feng shui crystal. It's simply a prismatic round crystal with
so pretty.
So much can be done with it. It doesn't even need to have light casted directly on it. But what you'll find is a lot of our lighting today is enhanced with these crystals already. So these crystals can be used again very intentionally and in very strategic places according to what we use in feng shui as a tool. It's called the Bagua energy map.
Nice.
So we use this Bagua energy map to apply it to any land, plot, home, business, office, even your desk. We can divvy it up into different quadrants that can tell us which area aligns with your area of success, abundance, and prosperity.
I need you in my life.
Oh my gosh.
We all need a Lisa in our life, guys. Like, this is amazing. I love it.
So, yeah, like this is one of my gifts that I give to everybody that I meet and work with, because you can today hang this strategically, and I'll work with you on where you can hang it.
I love it.
With intention to activate and call in energy.
Explain to me then, so working in the lighting industry, I have seen some chandeliers that they have about 500 of these. I'm always so drawn to the crystals. The Schonbeck. I don't own one because I don't have 50,000 to spend on a good Schonbeck.
Right.
But I love how the lighting industry really does tie in so many crystals. And so maybe we'll have to dive into that.
The lighting industry gets it.
They do.
Yeah, they really do. We do. And I have so much gratitude and appreciation for people that are masters in lighting. It's so significantly important. And how we care for our lighting too.
I love
it. It's not just a set it and forget it. Make sure that you're sprucing up your lighting. Make sure it's not collecting cobwebs, obviously.
Yes.
Because it's an element that works for you. Again, supporting your subconscious. It's an easy thing that you can do. When you're trying to call in and invite energy into your life, whether it's attracting business opportunities, or if you're trying to sell your home, or if you're trying to welcome in new relationships, romantic or partnerships in business, it's important to turn on your lights a little bit longer. Not great for your energy bill, but it's important.
It is important, and there's so much. Like whenever I go to Light Ovation, or if I go to Lightology, that there's a lot of people in like the tile industry, or even some of the design industry, that they don't understand the psychological factors that truly play into lighting. And the perfect example that I always give is, have you ever walked into someone's home or a space and it's dim, it's not well lit, and you just feel like this immense
heaviness.
Yeah,
like stickiness, like you're attracting dust even sometimes. So that's what we call in feng shui a yin imbalance. And I'll just flash back a little bit. During COVID, a lot of the feng shui professionals got a lot of phone calls because they found their children were living in a yin imbalance. They didn't know what it was. but children would go in their rooms where they felt safest and have all the lights off, all the fabrics. They would burrito up in their beds. They would have the dim lights, the computer light playing their video games. And that yin imbalance was negatively impacting their psyche.
Wow.
Which meant they were more recluse, detached, agitated even, getting in their own heads. So just starts by turning on the lights, opening up the windows, sprucing things up. Cleaning things can do a wonder of improvement where people think throw it out, get new. Sometimes it just needs to be cleaned and spruced up and cared for.
Yeah, that's so important. So important. So balancing yin and yang through, let's talk about more lighting. Which the theme of this season is all about women creating balance in male-dominated spaces. So I told you a lot of my listeners are like myself.
Yeah.
We're in the commercial space where we're on job sites, running tile installation, maybe we're doing lighting, maybe we're doing design. And at least for me personally, most of my labors right now have been 100% men.
Right.
And so how can lighting or even just feng shui be a tool for the right balance in spaces maybe that we're working in that environment is like that? What's the possibility there?
Yeah, that's such a good topic. And I really feel that too. I feel in any profession, women, when we're in business in any way, we really lean heavy into our masculine. So much so. And you're right, it's hard to find in that return to center and to balance because we want to welcome in both the yin and the yang, the feminine and the masculine. And it can be done with lighting as well too. So yang energy is very bright, white, it's vibrant, it feels fast moving. That energy is also very masculine. So I want to say to you, if you're a female out there and you feel you're so much into your masculine right now, create a sanctuary place for you in your home. Maybe you make a meditation room or a reading room and add something in it. Add some luxurious fabrics, tone down, soften your lighting just a little bit, not so that it feels, you want to have various sources of lighting as we know. So not just
layer.
Do not rely just on your overhead lamps. Make sure that you have layered lighting, as you just said.
Yes.
So as females, we rock the layers. So layers and lighting, layers and textures, layers and what you're seeing visually. Create that little environment for yourself to allow you to spend even just 20 minutes in the morning and in the evening, creating a routine where you can just soak in that feminine energy and allow yourself to return to feeling, I think, and this, I'm not a psychologist, but I think we gravitate towards the masculinity in business as a form of protection.
Oh, sure.
To bolster us, to help us feel larger in stature. We all do, and we feel that. Know that you're safe in this environment and will allow yourself to be very visionary and playful.
Yes.
Yes.
And I thought for a second where you were going to go, because in my mind I was thinking like, whenever I'm on a job site, how could I change that environment because it's full construction?
Right.
So then I remember a time where we were in Arizona. We worked at night. We didn't have all of the lighting, and so it was very just the energy there was just so weird. And I remember I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to Lowe's right now, and I'm going to go buy all these LED spots.
Oh, yeah.
So we did that to light up the space, but then the only problem was these guys had a ton of lippage, and that was a whole other night.
Yeah.
So guys, be careful with your tile and your lighting. If you're not a good setter, don't put lighting on it. We will see your lippage. So that is definitely something to think about. So, no, that's a great thing to bring up. Is once you leave that environment, you have to have a space to go to either unleash whatever it is that you're carrying. Is kind of what it sounds like.
Well, yeah, and it's the feminine energy is really very much welcomed at this time. It's hard for us when we've been in business for 20, 30 years to realize that it's changing in the workforce. So now is the time that you can start lightening up a little bit.
Yeah.
Men in the workforce, they appreciate that. You
Yeah.
might see them relax a little bit. They might be more conversational with you. So
Okay.
there's a lot more emotional intelligence in the workspace. And
It's really
so
beautiful.
yeah, and I'm feeling that and seeing that in a shift. In feng shui, we call it period 9 is the year that we're entering into. It's a 20-year cycle. And this happens to be the rise of the middle-aged woman as a leader.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. I like that. So speaking of middle-aged leaders,
Yes.
so that brings me to my next question about business growth and feng shui as a tool. For women entrepreneurs and business owners in design, how can they utilize lighting as feng shui? I keep going back to lighting because we talk so much about tile and business. I love being able to jump on as a lighting designer with someone else who loves lighting too. But how can they utilize lighting as feng shui tool to enhance both the energy and their business growth?
Ooh, yeah.
Business growth.
So we want to do everything that's unstifling. As we were talking about, not having that collection of dust or residue type of feeling.
Right.
So when you're talking about growth, you want to see a lot of upward, like as we're seeing in this room here, and I think it's visible. So there's a lot of upward patterning here.
So the chevron.
Visually, yes, the chevron is a great one. It contains the elements of abundance as well as fame and reputation.
Okay.
So that's, to me, demonstrates visually upward growth of what the marketing is that you want to project to the world.
Got it.
In terms of abundance and growth and expansion. So you want to be very expansion oriented in what you're selecting in your environment.
So if someone is looking, let's say they have a manifestation about scaling their business. So they want to scale. They're kind of in a stagnant place. Let's say that they made their $1 million and now they're ready to go to that 2.5.
Right.
What would be something like I've read before, I think like that there was, the only thing I can say is, okay, let's say you have 2 people that are in a relationship.
Okay.
And that one person really wants growth with the relationship. So everything in their room, they do 2s of. So how would we tap into more growth in maybe like our environment?
Yeah, so more growth. And I like the story and the version that you're telling in this, because when we all make that first big number goal that we set out to make in business, it all comes back to money in business for reflection on how well we're doing. But we're also putting a ceiling on ourselves in some way too. So we always want to think, this is what I'm looking for and beyond. So that means I want to think about lighting artwork that shows that expansiveness and that going beyond and what that means to you. That means maybe working with your windows and placement and your mirrors and placement to lift the energy up. That means also going back to flooring and tile. I was thinking about your lit pathways. There's an image I saw in your Instagram maybe, the lit pathways. Beautiful. So
guys, everyone needs a lit pathway.
Everyone.
Cameron.
yes, a lit pathway. I was so excited and jazzed to see that, because a lit pathway and what that means for us is just the journey ahead, especially if it's meandering, right?
I love this.
And controlled. But a lit pathway is really just like that. At the end of the pathway, what is that you ultimately desire? It's that 2.5 million or greater. To allow that to be a surprise. But I want to say too, with the intention and how you're creating your spaces and how you're getting that biofeedback to your subconscious, I want to say that ask yourself questions, not how am I going to get there, but why am I so able?
Why am I so able? That's a really good question. I love that.
Why do I have everything that I need to be in the position? And your mind immediately answers it with all the reason why. Now demonstrate that in your environment. That means as soon as you get out of bed in the morning, what do your toes touch on the floor?
There's so much
Is it
intention
beautiful?
with it.
Is it beautiful? Smooth flooring? Is it a layered rug that has some texture to it?
It's 1940s hardwood.
Yeah, beautiful.
It is beautiful.
love that.
Art Deco. We love it.
Yes, I love that.
We could do a whole other podcast. Actually, Lisa has a podcast, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about your podcast.
So my podcast is The Conscious Collaboration, and it is all about what you're all about here today with your viewers. It is supporting visionaries, thought leaders, change makers, and entrepreneurs that realize the importance of aligning their mind, their bodies with their business.
I love this.
And it's a very felt thing that people are seeking. They're realizing I'm doing everything to keep myself centered. I'm doing the meditation. I'm doing the yoga. I'm doing the running. My business. They realize that when they can have all of these energies in alignment, the output
I love that.
is synchronistic.
Yes, it is. I love the synchronicity piece of all of it.
It's
I feel like that is, I talked to you a little bit about the founder of the WOFB and how I didn't go into the story of how I met her, but it was a very innate way. We were sitting at the same table at a conference. She looks at me, I look at her, and it was just like we were synchronicity was right there. And then it was close to 40 plus weeks ago that she contacted me, and I was a part of this mentorship through the WOFB, and she said, "There's something within you, check your email." And it was the StreamYard login, and she's like, "You need to be a host for the podcast for us."
You are in your that's a great example. And,
it is.
And I'm sure a lot of us in the industry are very intuitively gifted in creating the environments that support you, so that you attract and that you see the opportunities.
Yes.
And when we're muddied in our environment, that means muddied lighting.
Sure.
Right. It's not balanced, and our textures around us. There could be opportunities served to us on a platter.
Right.
But we
would miss it.
We would miss it. Right. So that's an example, really clear example that you had that awareness and leaned into it.
Yes. And boy, did we. Here we are in the middle
You are
of a hurricane.
Yes.
In St. Pete, guys, at the Moxie Hotel. If you are ever traveling, the Marriott does a beautiful, beautiful collaboration with the Moxie Hotel all over the country. But this one in St. Pete, it is so chic. It's so cute. The tile, everything about it. So go to moxie.com/Marriott if you are looking for a place to stay. We love them, that they've been a great sponsor for our podcast. I hope that Lisa starts doing her podcast here too. It's such a beautiful environment. We will work on the lighting and feng shuiing the room maybe a little bit for them too. So before we go, my last question is quantum energy alignment and lighting. I keep going back to this because I love picking your brain with all of this lighting stuff. As a quantum energy alignment practitioner, how do you see women leveraging lighting design to align their spaces that they're working on, maybe for personal success we did talk about, but maybe it's putting it into practice for their design aesthetic? Would they contact you to get that knowledge? Tell me about that, how a designer could actually work with you.
Yeah, so that would be a great example of where we could collaborate together.
Okay.
And put our expertise together to evaluate the environment and where it is and see where we can elevate it with the lighting in particular, whether it's commercial or residential, and they are very different in terms of the type of energy we want to cultivate and attract. So I would invite anyone that desires to collaborate together and see how we could enhance a project very intentionally using feng shui to contact me. My door is always open. I love collaboration.
So guys, on this episode too, if you check out the Instagram, I'll have all of Lisa's information out there, but tell the viewers what your website is and where they can find you on Instagram.
Okay. So you can find me at Cloud9 Feng Shui. It's the number 9. The number 9, by the way, you'll learn is infused in everything that I do.
Okay.
So the 9, number 9 symbolizes the completion of a cycle, actualization. So cloud9fengshui.com, or you can find me on Instagram at Cloud9 Feng Shui.
There you have it. My gosh, Lisa, I'm so excited. Cheers. That we got to meet today. We haven't yet been blown away from the hurricane. Thank goodness it has not started yet here in St. Pete. But I'm so excited that you were able to join me today. And listen, guys, I'm going to share all of her information on Instagram so you can find Lisa. Anyone that is looking to get into feng shui, you can contact me as well. And speaking of feng shui and speaking of learning about lighting and aesthetics, if you are looking for a CEU, reach out. Designer Dopamine is all about how to entice dopamine, and I'm sure we could throw some feng shui. But how to entice dopamine in your design aesthetic with tile in a bathroom. You guys know that that is my jam. And also, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor, go to WOFB podcast at womenflooring.com, where we will unpack all the information about sponsorship that will be coming up and be a part of the conversation, guys. So go on the WOFB Facebook group. As you know, we have mentorship that is going on there. We have a seminar that's coming up in November. We have some really great things that and opportunities that are out there. And book club. Who doesn't want to be part of it? Right? Book clubs are amazing. So until next time, we'll see you guys. Bye. Jet, will you hit end recording? Good job. Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
You did such a great